For years, it seemed like the housing market would keep soaring. Prices went up, inventory went down, and it felt like it would last forever. But 2026 is proving to be a game changer. What started as a problem in a few parts of Florida is now a nationwide issue. Major cities across the U.S. are experiencing price drops, some as high as 13% in just 1 year. Florida, in particular, is at the center of what could be a larger housing correction. The price drops. Here's the reality: home prices are dropping. In Florida, places like Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, and even Miami are seeing declines that range from 4% to 13%. It's not a huge drop on the surface, but when you dig deeper, it's a big deal. Some areas, like Punta Gorda, have seen their home values fall more than 24% from the peak back in 2022. That's not a small change. Take Tampa as an example. Back in January 2020, the average home price was about $235,000. Fast forward to today, and that same house is going for around $366,000. That's a 55% increase in just 6 years. While some might think the market is correcting and prices are finally getting more reasonable, the reality is that they're still a long way from where they were before the pandemic. Why inventory is key. Here's something that might surprise you. Inventory is climbing fast. If you remember 2020, the housing market was on fire. Homes were flying off the shelves, so to speak, because there were just so few available. In fact, in places like Pinellas County, Florida, active listings dropped by more than 50%, creating an extreme scarcity. Homes were selling faster than ever before, and prices were pushing upwards as demand outstripped supply. But now, the story has changed dramatically. Fast forward to 2026, and Pinellas County now has over 9,000 active listings. That's more than double the number of homes on the market just a couple of years ago. And this isn't just a local anomaly, it's a growing trend seen in markets across the country. This surge in inventory is a big deal, and here's why. More homes on the market mean more competition among sellers. Think about it, if you're trying to sell your home in a crowded market, you've got to stand out. For sellers who are holding out for top dollar, this is a tough reality to face. The buyers who were once eagerly grabbing homes off the market may now be more selective, armed with more options. To attract those buyers, sellers are going to have to lower their asking prices to remain competitive. It's a buyer's market, and buyers are starting to call the shots. This isn't just happening in Florida, it's spreading to other major housing markets across the U.S. So, while Florida has seen some of the sharpest declines, inventory surges are a nationwide phenomenon. The days of limited homes and frantic bidding wars may be behind us for now, and this shift is affecting sellers everywhere. Is this just Florida's problem? Nope, it's everywhere. While Florida may have been the hardest hit, this problem is definitely not isolated to the Sunshine State. States like Texas, Nevada, and California are also seeing an increase in available listings, which means the housing boom these states experienced during the pandemic might finally be coming to a screeching halt. Take California, for example. The housing market there has always been volatile, but for years, home prices have been rising at an unsustainable rate. Now, we're starting to see inventory levels increase rapidly, which suggests the demand that drove those prices up may be slowing down. Markets that were once red hot, such as San Francisco, San Jose, and Los Angeles, are facing the same issues. More homes on the market, fewer buyers willing to pay premium prices, and an overall sense of hesitation. One phenomenon that's become particularly noticeable is something called seller delusion. This is when sellers who couldn't sell their homes in 2025 pull their properties off the market, hoping for better conditions later. The problem is, when these homes get relisted in 2026, sellers expect to get the same price they would have received in the past. But the market has changed. The conditions have shifted dramatically, and the prices they're asking for just aren't realistic anymore. In fact, places like San Jose, California, are seeing a significant amount of homes being relisted. In January 2026, around 12.5% of the homes listed were actually properties that were pulled off the market and put back up for sale. This is a clear sign of the seller delusion phenomenon at play. And if this trend continues, we could see even more homes coming back into the market, flooding it with unsold inventory, which will only make things tougher for everyone. This delusion is often fueled by sellers holding on to the belief that their homes are worth what they were a year or two ago, but the reality is that buyers are no longer willing to pay those high prices. The gap between seller expectations and buyer reality is widening, and it's creating tension in the market. So, what's going to happen next? All right, let's break it down and see what we're really looking at here. First off, inventory is on the rise. We're seeing more and more homes come onto the market, and as a result, sellers are facing more competition. With rising inventory levels, homes that once sold quickly are now sitting for longer periods of time. Buyers, on the other hand, now have more options to choose from. Which sounds like a good thing, right? Well, it is, but there's a catch. Rising interest rates are still a major obstacle. While inventory increases, mortgage rates have remained high, making it harder for potential buyers to afford homes. Even with more options available, higher interest rates are discouraging many buyers from jumping into the market. In fact, a lot of people who might have been looking to buy a home are now hesitating, knowing that monthly payments will be higher than expected due to the higher rates. Add to that the rising costs of insurance, which are also squeezing buyers' budgets, and it becomes clear that even though more homes are available, buying is still a challenge for many. So while buyers might have more negotiating power, the financial barriers still make the market difficult to navigate. For sellers, the situation is even trickier. With more homes on the market, they're being forced to adjust their prices in order to stay competitive. But here's where it gets really interesting. Once price drops start, they tend to snowball. Sellers will start cutting prices just to get buyers interested, and this creates a downward spiral. As more sellers lower their prices, others will feel the pressure to do the same, which ultimately drags the entire market down further. It's a tricky game, and the longer this trend continues, the harder it will be for sellers to maintain their desired prices. Betting on the future. You might be wondering, how can we know for sure where this is all headed? Well, there's actually a platform called Polymarket that lets people make predictions about where things are going. For example, you can bet on whether mortgage rates will drop, or if the Fed will cut rates in 2026. It's like a prediction market where you can literally profit off your knowledge of the economy and housing trends. It's not just about speculation either. These predictions are based on real-time market data, and some people are making significant money by accurately predicting what happens next in the housing market. So, what's next for the housing market? Here's the bottom line. The housing market is shifting, and it's shifting fast. Prices are starting to drop, inventory is rising, and sellers are going to have to adjust their expectations. While some areas might still be holding on due to low inventory, the general trend is clear. The housing boom is over. For buyers, this means more options and a bit more bargaining power, but it still won't be easy. For sellers, it's going to be a tough road ahead. The market is increasingly moving in favor of buyers, and for those looking to sell, it's going to be all about pricing and timing. So, if you're in the market to buy or sell in 2026, buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. The best thing you can do is stay informed, keep an eye on the data, and be ready to make your move when the time is right. What do you think about the housing market in 2026? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this helpful, hit like and subscribe for more real estate updates. Thanks for watching.